All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are pulling back the mask on one of the biggest, most devastating deceptions in all of shinobi history. I'm talking about the story of Madara Uchiha and the man who became his shadow, Obito Uchiha. Seriously, this is a wild tale of a legendary villain, a completely stolen identity, and a master plan so twisted it turned a hero into an absolute monster.
So, the question that really sits at the heart of this whole thing is, how? How does a young shinobi, a kid who believed in his friends more than anything else, become the guy who kicks off a world war? That's the tragic path we're going to trace today, from pure idealism all the way down to complete and utter despair.
Okay, so to really get how deep this deception goes, we have to start with the legend himself. Let's talk about Madara Uchiha, the ghost of the Uchiha. I mean, this was a name so powerful, so feared, that just whispering it could unite entire nations against a common threat, even decades after everyone thought he was dead and gone.
You can't talk about Madara without talking about his greatest rival, who was also, believe it or not, his childhood friend, Hashirama Senju. These two, they founded the Hidden Leaf Village, Konoha, with this dream of creating an era of peace. But, and this is a big but, they had totally different ideas on how to make that peace last. And that disagreement, it led to a battle so legendary it literally carved the Valley of the End into the map.
And so, the official story is that Madara was defeated that day. Everyone believed he was killed. His death was supposed to be the final chapter, the end of a long, bloody conflict. But here's the thing about Madara. He was always 10 steps ahead. He had a plan for everything, even his own death. This wasn't an ending. Oh no, it was just the first move in a much, much darker game.
So, fast forward a bunch of years. Suddenly, this mystery figure pops up out of the shadows. He's wearing a mask, he's calling himself Madara, and he starts plunging the entire world into chaos. And the crazy part? He has the power to back it up. It really looks like the legendary Uchiha is back. But, as you can probably guess, the real truth is way more complicated and way more tragic.
So, to figure out who's really behind that mask, we've got to rewind. Let's go back to the Third Great Ninja War. This is where we meet a kid named Obito Uchiha. And look, he's a bit of a clumsy, idealistic goofball, but he's got the heart of a true hero. He has absolutely no idea what kind of dark destiny is just waiting around the corner for him.
Now, Obito, he was no genius. Not like his rival, the prodigy Kakashi. Obito was the guy who was always late, always had some crazy excuse. But what he lacked in raw talent, he made up for with a massive heart and this one unwavering dream. He wanted to be Hokage. Not just for the power, but so everyone in the village would finally see him, acknowledge him. His whole world was his team, but especially his teammate, Rin, the girl he was completely in love with.
And this quote right here, this is everything you need to know about Obito. This was his personal ninja way, his core belief. He actually said this to Kakashi, who was all about putting the mission first, even over their teammates. And the tragic irony is, this one conviction, the idea that friends are more important than anything, that's the exact thing that would be used to absolutely shatter him. So on this one fateful mission, the worst happens. Obito makes the ultimate sacrifice to save Kakashi's life, and he gets crushed by a massive boulder. Everyone thinks he's dead. They even carve his name onto the memorial stone back in the village. But he didn't die. He survived, just long enough to witness something so traumatic it's hard to even imagine. He sees Rin, the girl he loves, die, and it's at the hands of Kakashi, the very friend he just saved. That moment just broke him. It shattered his entire world.
But here's the thing. Obito's surviving that cave-in, that was no accident. The person who found him and pulled him from the rubble, he wasn't a savior, not even close. He was a master manipulator, and he just found the perfect, broken pawn for his grand, sinister game.
Because the person who saved him was none other than the real Madara Uchiha. He was ancient now, barely alive, hooked up to the demonic statue of the Outer Path. And he takes Obito, rebuilds his crushed body using cells from his old rival, Hashirama. Make no mistake, he wasn't saving a life here. He was forging a weapon.
So what was Madara's endgame? It was called the Eye of the Moon plan. After a lifetime of endless war, his twisted idea of peace was to, well, create a fake one. He planned to use this godlike power to cast a massive illusion on the moon itself, trapping every single person on the planet in a perfect dream world. A reality where there's no pain, no loss, and everyone gets what they've always wanted.
And this is the most messed up part. Rin's death? It wasn't an accident. It wasn't just some tragedy of war. Madara planned the whole thing. He had her captured, turned her into a living time bomb, basically forcing her into a situation where she had to die by Kakashi's hand to protect the village. And he made damn sure Obito was there to see every second of it. Once Obito was completely broken by despair, Madara swooped in and offered him this false hope, the Eye of the Moon plan, a world where Rin could be alive again. It was a perfectly executed, absolutely cruel manipulation.
So, to make this whole deception work, Madara couldn't just give Obito a mission. He had to give him the power to pull it off. He started transforming this broken kid into a near-perfect mirror image of his own legendary self.
I mean, just look at this comparison. The similarities are just staggering. Because of those Hashirama cells, Obito could use wood release, just like the first Hokage. Later on, he'd get the Rinnegan, he'd become the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, he even carried Madara's huge signature war fan. To the rest of the world, it wasn't just some guy acting like Madara, he had the power, he had the abilities. The lie was completely believable.
They weren't perfect clones, though. Each had their own signature, game-breaking ability. Obito's Manjikure Sharingan gave him Kamui, this insane space-time power that let him become intangible, basically untouchable. Madara, on the other hand, was all about his Susanoo, this massive, godlike chakra avatar that could literally slice mountains in half. So while they were similar, they each brought a unique and devastating threat to the table.
So for years, this plan goes off without a hitch. Obito, wearing the mask and the name of Madara, pushes the entire world to the edge of destruction. He manipulates the Akatsuki, he attacks Konoha, he kicks off the Fourth Great Ninja War. It's all going according to Madara's design. But a lie this big, a deception on this scale, it can't last forever.
And in the ultimate twist of fate, the very war that Obito started is what brings the truth to light, because a forbidden resurrection jutsu brings the real Madara Uchiha back from the dead. And just like that, the pawn is staring right into the eyes of his master. The ghost he's been pretending to be for years is standing right in front of him, ready to take over.
And Madara's own words just lay it all out there, cold as ice. He makes it crystal clear that Obito was never a partner, never a successor. He was just a tool, a placeholder, someone to keep the plan moving until the real Madara could come back and finish the job. He gave him the name, sure, but he never intended for him to have the legacy.
Faced with that horrible truth, everything clicks for Obito. He finally gets it. His whole life, his pain, it wasn't for Rin. He was just another victim of Madara's insane ambition. And in his final moments, he does a complete 180. He turns on Madara, uses the very last of his power to help Naruto and Kakashi, and sacrifices himself to save the very world he tried so hard to replace. That flicker of the hero he was supposed to be, it finally came back.
And that just leaves us with this one kind of haunting question to think about. In the end, Obito died a hero, but for most of his life, the world knew him as one of its greatest villains. It really makes you think about legacy, right? When someone's life is twisted and manipulated that completely, who were they really? The hero they started as, or the monster they were forced to become?